This is the Titanic. Most people were taught that this ship sunk just because it hit an iceberg. If you believe this, you have been lied to. The real reason the Titanic sunk is based on its design. If we go back 3 years, the Titanic had not, even been built yet. But this was the Edwardian era, a period known for excess among the upper class. This excess wealth would create an opportunity to justify and fund the ship's creation. Considering society at the time, the ship was built to sail as an embodiment of luxury and sophistication. $7.5 million was the cost in 1912. A little calculation for inflation shows that it's equal to $200 million today. That was plenty of money for the designer to see his ideas come to fruition. Thomas Andrews, the naval architect who was designing the Titanic, included cutting-edge safety measures, a double-bottomed hull, 16 separate water-weight compartments, and an extensive network of bulkheads. The ship would be powered by both steam engines and coal-fired boilers. Considering the rapid improvement of technology this era was experiencing, the ship's interior design would capitalize on these capabilities as well. It would include advanced amenities such as electric lighting and wireless communication technology, and of course, exquisite craftsmanship among the beautiful decor. But we're not there yet. It's just an idea at the moment. A construction of this size was a massive undertaking, but due to the incredible power of money at the time of such financial inequality, it was nothing to get 15 to 20,000 workers employed for the project. So while the project required a collaborative effort of a substantial labor force consisting of shipbuilders, engineers, carpenters, metalworkers, welders, riveters, plumbers, electricians, and, well, the list goes on, the liquidity of the finances made this hauntingly complex engineering project surprisingly feasible. It only took 3 years, and the ship was complete. This brings us to factor number 1. One of the 3 main factors that caused the sinking of the Titanic. Here it is, built in its unsinkable glory, except, well, it wasn't. 16 separate waterway compartments. Now that sounds good, but imagine an ice tray. Sure, it's protected from the sides and bottom, but when one compartment receives water from above, it easily overflows into the other compartments. They were not built to handle a breach from above. Recent studies have also shown that the steel and rivets used on the Titanic would become brittle when in bitter cold water, combined with the design of the bulkheads that allowed for such a breach. Onward to factor number 2. Humanity. These engineering flaws are easy to nitpick now, but at the time, the ship was verifiably unsinkable in the minds of everyone. Therefore, safety precautions faced complexity. There were warnings of icebergs as they set sail on the maiden voyage of April of 1912, but that didn't stop the ship's captain from sailing the ship at a dangerously fast speed in pursuit of a record. Speaking of oversights, did you know that the Titanic's lookouts didn't even have binoculars? They had them on board and were inside a locked cabinet, the key for which was on an officer who was replaced at the last minute. Negligence caused by this hubris of the supposed unsinkable nature of the ship. Factor 3. The iceberg. Despite these flaws aforementioned, the Titanic would have been completely fine. That's an iceberg. Maybe less of a factor and more of a catalyst that exposed the previous 2 factors. So yes, the iceberg did cause the Titanic to sink, but it was designed to withstand such a collision. It was the overconfidence of the design that led the ship to being exposed in the most catastrophic way possible. The iceberg looked small from above, as it was mostly underwater. Ever hear that saying, the tip of the iceberg? Well, in this case, it was quite literal. The Titanic would sustain incredible damage subsurface in the icy depths of the ocean, and the waterweight compartments would turn out to be the ship's undoing, as they would overflow into each other and weigh the ship down like an ice tray. So then what? Well, as it was sinking, it wasn't even at first noticed to be so serious. By the time it was realized, complete panic was happening throughout the crew and passengers. There was an improper amount of lifeboats, and many of these were not properly inflated. This miscommunication from the initial impact meant that the crew did not have the proper time to prepare an evacuation. The nearest ship was 19 miles away, but had their radios off and were not able to respond in time. So yeah, just about everything that could go wrong, the ship itself as well as those responsible for it. The iceberg was just the tip, well, of the iceberg. Yeah, I used it twice. Anyway, bye.